Hello and welcome. I decided to create this video after I found a great video lesson from Kalanithi. Hope my pronunciation is correct. And this video is about on how to transform the data from the SurveyMonkey survey using Excel, Python and Pandas library. My name is Vasil Salek and this is my very first video on YouTube and the very first video in English. So sorry in advance for some potential mistakes since I'm not a native English speaker. I'm learning Python and Pandas now, and that video from Shashank was very helpful for me, so I would recommend you to visit the link in the description below and to revisit the original video in order to see the different ways how you can solve such kind of problems. And my video is just an example of on how that such problems can be solved, and I will use just Excel. I will use PowerQuery and PowerPivot, and which is that important that I will use 0 lines of code. So, well, let's get started. In order to repeat the result, the final result, all you need some data, and Shashan provided us link to GitHub. I can use that link, and I need two files. I know that I need the data SurveyMonkey file output. Yes, this is the original data from the SurveyMonkey, and the final output, which is the requirement, what is required to be achieved. Okay, if you need detailed explanation about what I will be doing, please let me know in the comments. In the sake of time, I'm not going to explain all this stuff in details. I'm just will show you my strategy. So it may be not familiar to all of you or to someone of you what I'm doing, but if you need, I will create a longer version of that video. It's not a problem. So what we have here, we have two files. Original file with data that need to be transformed, aggregated, counted, and we have the final output. This is how our final output should look like. And I would recommend you always to align with the customer on the final output. You may prototype that final output and that's it. So all I need that columns. I need to know the structure, and you later on you will see why. I'm not able, when I'm using PowerQuery editor, I'm not able to use to switch between query editor and the Excel window, so that is why I'm doing this. I can use additional way, transpose. It's similar to the just copy and paste. Yes, and that's it. It works as well, right? So let's go. We will copy our columns, and I'm going to open Notepad. It is here, and I will paste my data here. So the structure will be the following. I need to have these columns. Now I need to have this question plus sub-question structure and answer, and the question, and then I need to have the question as separate, and then I need to have my aggregations like respondents, count of respondents, and the same answer. So let's take a look at the output file. So we have respondents per question, number of unique respondents per question, and here we have how many answers do we have for that question and for that answer. It's pretty simple. It's pretty easy to calculate with Excel. Let me show you how. So now I need to open new file, and I'm going to import that original data raw file into Excel. Okay, let's go to desktop, and this is our original file. I'm going to import it. Once I have my window with my navigator window opened, yes, this is my navigator window, I need to select the required sheet with appropriate data. Here I have preview, which is truncated due to size limits, but it's okay. Then I click transform data. Now I'm able to transform, and what I will do first, I will provide few comments. I need this row with these columns, right? I needed to be honest, I needed to be as a row. So that is why I will delete these automatic steps which PowerQuery editor already applied to my file, to my data. I don't need them. And the next step, I'm going to transpose my data. And here we see that we need to fill this null cells with the question 5, and the same for other questions. So to do so, I'm going to select my column, go to transpose, fill down. Done. Now I need to have this structure. Since I need to have this structure, I need to merge these two columns into one, and I'm going to use the same separator, custom separator, which Shashank used, backspace minus backspace. Great. Yes, that's what we needed. Now I'm going to transpose my data back, and now I have this great pattern. So now I can use my first row as a headers. We will do it, and I'm going to rename, but first I'm going to delete or unnecessary data. Yes, remove columns, we don't need them. And let's copy and paste division primary, division secondary. Here's position. Here is our generation. Yeah, generation. Here is our gender, tenure. Yes, and here we have our employment type. Great. Not working. Okay, employment type. Great, and one thing to fix, just respondent ID. Cool. So now I need my data. Now I need to unpivot my data. So to do that, I can use unpivot functionality in PowerQuery, but I see here some problems. The problem is that I have empty cell and null cell. It is a problem because when I pivot this data, all these null cells will be unpivoted in rows, and they will disappear just as a null, nothing here. So that is very important. Right before unpivoting, I need to select all columns with data, and I need to replace values and null values with nothing or empty, right? Okay, great. So now I'm going to select my columns with demographic data, just from respondent ID to employment type, right button click, and unpivot other columns. So those columns that are not selected, I'm going to unpivot. Great, now I have my pair attribute value. Cool. So this attribute value attribute is question plus sub-question, as you see, and here I have this answer, right? Answer, which is great. Now I need to have one more column, which is question. To have that, I will just duplicate existing column, and I'm going to split that column by delimiter. we remember that our delimiter was custom, but not just minus backspace. Cool. Replace, I will remove that column. Oh, sorry. Delete the step, remove that column. Again, I don't want to hurry up. Remove and rename this to question. Voila. Now I will reference that query reference, because I want all changes here that I've made, I want to be reflected in here. And I will call that file respondents, that query, not file respondents. Since I need to calculate I need to calculate just respondents for particular question. I don't need to calculate empty questions, which is very important because there is no respond to that question, right? So I need to get rid of the empty answers, remove empty. And the next step, I want to delete all columns except respondent ID and question. So that is why I've selected these columns, and I will select right button click and select remove other columns. Great. Now I want to have unique ID for a particular question. So I can have multiple questions, like question 2 I can have multiple times, but I want to have unique ID for that particular question. So that is why I will group by question respondent ID. It's very important, this sequence, right? And count rows. Now I will just leave my question column and do and repeat grouping. That is how I will get the count of questions, number of quantity of every question. That is what I needed, right? Great. Let's sort it. So looks like okay. Now we can proceed with the next with our next steps. So our next steps will be PowerPivot tool. So I will close and load. I'm always using this feature. I don't need connection. I need my data to be added to the data model in order to be able to use the data in PowerPivot and hit OK. Then I will open my PowerPivot icon, but I need to wait while my data will be loaded. Here I see 70,028 rows. Let's check the final output. And yes, 70,028. Yes. Here we have the same number. Great. We can move further. So now I will open PowerPivot functionality. What I need to do, I need to create relationship between our these are tables, right? So since we have them in data model, these are two tables, like a database. But we need to create connection. They are not connected. So in order to create connection, I will do the following. I will select that question and I will drag and drop into the next question, to the second question in the sheet table. Here we have this relationship. That is what I need exactly. So now I will copy this respondents and I will add new column, number of respondents. I prefer that naming. And I will add my formula, which is related. Once you have your tables, once your tables have relationship, you can use related formula, which helps to highlight, to reference required data. So I have this respondents count. This is what I need, and I would put it here. Great. Cool. This is how it works. Okay, now I will close that. This is enough for now. Now I need to load my data, new data. You remember the query. So if you will take a look here, you will not see this, you will not see the number of respondents. But if you will take a look here, you will see them, number of respondents. This is magic, right? This is just simple simple connections. So I need to load my data to the worksheet, and I will use table, existing worksheet, but I need my table to be here, and click OK. Don't forget about this, add this data to the data model. Go. So now we have the same number of rows loaded. That's okay. And the final step that I need to do is same answer, to count how many answers do we have in here. So to do that, I will use count if s function for the in order to be able to use multiple criteria range and multiple criterias, right? So my first criteria will be our pair question plus sub question, and the criteria will be question plus sub question, which is obvious, right? So I selected the whole table and the exact cell. Next, a criteria will be answer, because we want to count answers, and the second criteria will be your right answer, which is obvious. Voila. But I see here a problem. We have empty answers, but this is how the countifs function works. This function counts also empty. So in order to fix that stuff, if it's not okay according to the customer's requirement, we need to fix that, right? So we need to go back to our data, to our query. And one thing that we need to do, we need to replace our answers, empty answers, with null. Okay, empty, null. Great. Empty, null. So I believe that's okay. We need to wait while our data will be loaded. Yes, great. No change to the number of rows, but voila, we have our zeros here. That is what we require. Now what we need to do, we need to compare the results, and in order to do so, I will select what I will filter. I'll select the first ID. I'm going to filter this table with this ID, and I'm going to hide all unnecessary columns and sort by from A to Z, so to have this pattern. Now I'm going to select some, let's select for this first 20 rows, right? Okay, copy, paste as a picture. I will copy this again, and what I will do, I will go to my results, right? I will paste it here, and I'm going to filter these results in the same way. So I can use different functionality in order to compare these two files. I can show you this functionality if you would like, but maybe in future videos. Hide and sort. Okay, and one more thing, just go to view and hide grid lines. So what we have here, we have pretty similar pattern. So 105, 17, 108, 0, 198, 17. Great, great, we did it finally. So that's it. I hope you liked that approach, and you will be using Excel, PowerQuery, and PowerPivot for such tasks, but it depends on your maturity. So you need to learn, as you see, a lot. But if you have just Excel and you don't have environment in Python, please use Excel, use PowerQuery, use PowerPivot. For some tasks, you definitely can use them. So I will be very grateful if you rate this video with your likes or dislikes. It's totally up to you. Please post your comments, any suggestions, objections, or maybe you have some problems related to data analysis which need to be solved. We may try to solve those problems together. And please make sure to hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss future videos regarding data analysis. See you again, and bye-bye.